In this video lesson, we're going to be looking at lookup functions, two in particular, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. They're actually the same function, except one works vertically and the other works horizontally, hence the H and the V. We'll start with VLOOKUP, and what this does is search for a value in a column of a table and returns a value. So we can see the way the function is laid out there. A table of data of densities, viscosities and temperature. So the idea is that the VLOOKUP will look up information vertically in the first column of a set of data, and then when it finds that bit of information, it will return one of the values from the other columns that relate to this. Let's have a look. Start with the name of the function as always. VLOOKUP, and open our brackets so we can get our screen tips. The lookup value is which value it is we want to look for. I want to look for the value of 1.09. I'll type in 1.09. We'll work out how to use it with cell references later. I want to look up 1.09 in this first column, comma. Where's the data? That's what table array means. The table array data is this data here that we're using to find our information and return our information from, comma. Column index is the number of the column that we want to get the information from. So I'm going to look up 1.09. If I want to return the viscosity, then it's column 2, because density is column 1, viscosity is column 2. If I want to return the temperature for 1.09, then it's column 3, because temperature is column 3. Let's try column 3 to get the temperature. Comma. Range lookup is optional. It's either true or false. If we don't put it in at all, then true is assumed. True looks up for the nearest value in ascending order. We want an exact match. So if we want an exact match, we use false. Close our brackets, press the Enter key, and there we can see for the density of 1.09, that's what we put into our formula, the temperature is 50 degrees. Let's just edit that and have another look. Writing 1.09. What happens if we want to find the nearest temperature for density of 1? Well, to do that, instead of having false, we need to have true. Because true will look at the list and find the nearest value or the first one underneath it in ascending order. This means if you're using true, you have to sort the first column in ascending order using the sort. So, I'm going to find out the nearest value to 1 in ascending order. Let's see what that looks like. And the nearest value to 1, or 1.09 is past it. So the nearest one underneath is 946, which is a temperature of 100. And there we have 100. Let's look at that with some different data. This time we've got some ID numbers, part numbers, and some prices and markup values. I want to be able to type in the ID here and for it to automatically look up the price for me. So what we need then is a VLOOKUP. What's the value we're going to look up? Well, now the value, instead of typing it in here, we're going to put it into this cell. So the lookup value is actually cell B24. Comma. Where's the data? The table array. There. Comma. Which bit of information do we want to bring back? I want the cost, so it's column number 1, 2, 3. Comma. Range lookup. True gives the nearest one, false gives the exact. I want an exact. We'd have to have exact with the item ID. Wouldn't make sense to have the nearest one. So we'll have an exact, which means we've got to use false. Okay, so we've got a code of ST340, looks up that figure in the first column, comes across to the third column, finds the price, and that's the resultant figure. Let's just try changing this code and see what happens. Let's put in DI328. So what should happen, when I press the Enter key, look in this column for DI328, which is there. It'll then go to the third column, 1, 2, 3, and return that value, 2145. Let's see if it works. Yes, 2145. That's V lookup. It looks up the information in a vertical column. H lookup is identical, except it looks up the value in the first row of your data. So let's see how this works. Equals H lookup, brackets, with the same values. Where's the value that we're looking for? I'm actually going to type it here. So A36 has got my value in it, comma. Where's our data? Don't forget to include row 1, comma. Which row do we want to get the information from? Well, I want the information for the year 2009, so it's row 1, 2, 3. So it's the third row. Comma. Do I want an exact fit or not? Yes, I want the exact number, so I use false. Close the brackets. So in 2009, we had 1,000 bolts. Is that true? 2009, 1,000 bolts. Let's see how many axles we had in 2009. So we can change this to axles. Or press the Enter key. What should it return? Yep, it should return 500. Let's see if it does. 500. That's VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP using information that's laid out in a table or an array. Look up information and return information related to it from a different column or row.